One of the things that I've been trying to get towards with the conversation on servitization is essentially if you build servitization and that output is almost a spectrum, so you can offer those multiple layers, well, you've got the technology and you've got the internal infrastructure to deliver outcome. But actually, then you start thinking, well, that spectrum could take me all the way down to just customer success. Or it could be something in between, like certain industries like mining and aggregates. Because of the sheer volume of revenue that's generated, you're never going to get a fully outcome-based model there. It's going to be really, really hard. Now, I've worked with organisations in that space and seen that. It's just you're never going to get that percentage of outcome. So it will stop at a certain point. But the technology, the infrastructure, the processes, the people, the mentality, it's all the same. Emanuel, your thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, it's. I just remembered a few years back, and it's a bit of a stretch, but we were in the CRM or Dynamics market. Sales was the big topic, and then we always, phrased the message that wherever your customer wants to be met, whatever touch point that might be, you should meet them there, and you can transfer that a little bit to the service industry as well, right? What Mark said, just only solely focusing on outcome-based business models would probably not be sensible as of now, but also offering more traditional services makes sense because sometimes even the industries, so our customers are not even ready for a total outcome based service model themselves. So anything acts as a service, you also have to be ready for it as a customer. And we have, let's say, traditional industries also. I can mainly speak for Germany, but there are some industries that are a little bit, you know, behind developments, I would even say, and they need and want that good old trusted service models that then you should also offer as to delivering the full picture, basically.
Do you think that? Well, let me bring up another statistic. So traditionally, I've always seen, and again, we look at the poster boys, we look at the Alstom, Caterpillar, Rolls Royce, all of the big servitization kind of stories and case studies we always see. There's almost always a customer pull in there. Rolls Royce is a great example. We always talk about Rolls Royce being the great innovators. The customer pull was from the UK RAF and the defence contract, and also from American Airlines. So they had it from two directions. Another example I often refer back to is MAN Trucks. I was lucky enough to do an interview with their CEO quite some time ago now. But their market that they were serving, the haulage market, was paper thin in terms of margin. So there was an entire market that was saying, look, we need innovation. One thing I've seen in the data from this study is customers, service companies now are introducing the servitized element less so because of that customer pull and more so because they're trying to push that solution out. If we add it up, it's about 40% of the organisations that had introduced servitization had done so to either drive product or service revenue. So I suppose a question I'd like to ask you guys, Emanuel, maybe we can start with yourself on this one, is do you think we've reached a level of maturity in this conversation from the technology perspective, from the customer acceptance that we've touched on, from the processes and the understanding, that we're in a position where we can start pushing out to the customer base and saying, look, this is a model that works. This is a model that there are options for. Or do you think we still need that kind of co-creation that we get with the standard case studies?
Yeah, I think it is time, and it also makes sense to be more proactive in pushing those service models. A customer pull basically is always kind of reactive, and that makes sense and can make sense in a lot of situations. But since more and more companies realize the importance of service revenue and therefore also service effectiveness and service margins and so on, the more they have to lay out what will be a profitable business model for them, and basically sell it to their customers and clients. So because customer pull or customer request does not take into consideration what's a good business model for you as a service providing industry. So if you want to make the best out of it, I think it is time to start shaping that. And it's also what we realize in our projects that the companies do it more and more, also leading around to maybe one of the next talking points about where are decisions made about service business models and so on. So I think that there's a shift going on, but there will be a lot of parallelity, I think, for the time to come. So about a 50-50,
Yeah.
I guess it would be something that I think is realistic for the next years.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the bits that's really interesting around servitization is, and it's one that I am quite scared of, because I agree with you. I think we're at the point where if we want to take control of those models and we want to take control of that future, we need to take an active role in that, and we can't do that if we're always reliant on customer pull. Yet consistently, what we also see is some of the best examples of servitized business is co-created between the solution provider, the manufacturer, the OEM, whoever it is, and the customer, and understanding that. But I suppose, Max, bring that point to yourself. That's where we're getting back to that trust, isn't it? That's where we're getting back to that understanding. That co-creation is the ultimate output of trust. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I also kind of disagree a bit with what Emanuel said. I do believe the technology is there. IoT, digital twins, we see it all, and it's becoming more advanced. So I think that is something that came out of the pandemic. You can now easily integrate systems. You have the digital twins, you have the IoT capabilities to solve these models. Rolls-Royce and the others are examples. Yes, we can. But they are also in a position where they're really strong in the market. All of their dealers follow what Caterpillar does, and so on and so forth. They can dictate. They're in a dictating position. So for them, it can make sense to push out these business models. What I see is that actually most of the companies are still not ready yet. And I think they are on a growth path. So I'm not saying you shouldn't push. You should push if you have the money, the resources, and the capacity for it. And if I talk about resources and the capacity, it's about implementing the software, but it's also about being able to use the software. Now, referencing that 60-year-old guy, if my service delivery team is just 60-year-old folks that usually don't use a computer at home and have no clue about it, then I'm not ready for that business model yet. Simple as that. And then you shouldn't push, because that's just not how your company works. So therefore, it's an evaluation you should do as a company. How can I get my workforce ready for that? Train them. And also an acceptance that also in Rolls-Royce and in Caterpillar had probably many failed projects in that area before they pushed out these business models. It's a learning path, and it's a curve that you have to take, and an acceptance as a company. There's change. Change is going to do pain, and change might take up to 5 years. And once you're there, then you can push, and then you should push, definitely.
Hi there, my name is Kris Oldland. I'm the Editor-in-Chief and founder of Field Service News. I hope you found that short excerpt from one of our in-depth, long-form interviews of use. If you did, then why not have a look at an FSN Pro membership? This will give you access to over 70 hours plus of in-depth, long-form interviews where you can access the full interview. You also get access to the world's leading resource library dedicated specifically to the field service management sector. Over 130 resources that cover key areas such as digital transformation in field service, remote service technology and how that aligns to on-site service delivery, servitization, advanced services. All of these key areas and many more. There are key resources so you can learn from your peers and those that are leading the way in how the field service world is evolving. There's also the new FSN education platform, and we're adding courses there every single month with already a number of masterclass courses that don't just give you knowledge but actually give you the blueprint so you can develop a program within your own organization and see real world value. You can access all of this content for just £450 a month, or you can access it on a monthly basis at £45 a month. Head over to fieldservicenews.com, subscribe and find out more.